All right.
Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Marianne Petrie. You can find me and my books and blogs on dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com. Dismantling Family Court Corruption, Why Taking the Kids Was Not Enough, followed by Cry Out for Justice, Poems of Truth, then Raised by These Wolves, How Family and Federal Courts Are Failing Our Children, and now, Raised by These Wolves, Volume 2, Child Trafficking Through the Foster Care and Court Systems, that was released July 19th, 2024, and became a bestseller. And feel free to buy me a coffee to help keep this podcast going, and you can find all of this in the podcast notes. I have a brand new guest. I'm happy to have Cello Roque on. He is from New York State. He's a father fighting to help his daughter as she continues to be abused and neglected, and now trying to be removed from the United States. So I welcome you, Cello Roque. Where are you at with all of this?
Well, it's been a long journey, Marianne. We're
Mm-hmm.
talking about, no, over 6 years now. And sometimes I felt like, I cannot continue to moving forward because it doesn't matter how much evidence, physical evidence we throw on the table for all these people. I'm talking about judges, attorney for the children, to see it for themselves. They still turn their eyes in the opposite direction, ignore all the evidence. And, as you already know, since you are also a victim and you have this podcast, you heard many stories, tons of stories of, a pattern that's very similar in the 50 states. You know what I'm saying? They always remove those judges, they are trained to detect which parent is the problem. They remove the child from the fit parent and they put it under the custody of the one who is the problem. And why? Because that's the only way for them to profit all those federal incentives, drag the case as much as they can. At the end of the day, the only one who benefit themselves is the attorneys, the judges. There's no such a thing like the status quo, in the best interest of the child. It's a lie, just like, most of the things that comes from the government. They sell dreams, they have a false propaganda. Everything has been unreported. We know how, activists, throughout this country all know the real data. And all those data has been unreported because it's embarrassing to a country like the United States. You know what I'm saying? To face that shame, that they have been neglected the children, they have this scamming, racketeering court system. You know what I'm saying? They do everything for profit. America, unfortunately, became #1 in human traffic. A lot of people doesn't know that. They believe this is some sort of a conspiracy theory, but we know that this is not. And we happen to be, unfortunately, a victim of the system as well. And here we are today, you know what I mean? Thanks to social media and, Wi-Fi, internet, so this way we can expose a little bit, and spread a little bit of awareness, to those who doesn't know yet, and to let those who are involved, who's being punished and, abused by this corrupt system, to let them know that they're not alone. And I would like to, not just talk about my case today, but also bring a message of hope, because, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that, they wake up, they don't feel like to get up their bed, you know what I'm saying? Because the pain is so great, it's really hard to live every day knowing that our kids has been abused, neglect, and we completely deprived by this evil, corrupt, family court system, from protect our children from any, further harm. They don't care, it's really horrible. But, but it is what it is. And so anyways, you know what, Maria, if you don't mind, can I just play the beginning of a song that I was able to find out the other day online? It's pretty interesting because this guy, he was also a victim. I don't know if he in Texas, California. I saw one of his video at some point, and then his speech before the assembly or the Congress he turned into a rap against the family court. And I have been using this rap every time I go to protest and stuff, because I believe every parent out there who have been experienced the corruption family court, they will be able to relate with the song. And I just want to share this, at the beginning of the song because it's pretty interesting. So just give me 1 second.
Okay. I'm sorry you're going through all this.
Yeah, but I'm not the only one, as you already know.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready?
Ready.
I'm here today to speak to you in reference to family court. Along with millions of other parents in the state and across the country, I too have personally had the unfortunate privilege of becoming intimately aware of the comings and goings of the family court judiciary. I can attest firsthand that there is not a single article of the United States Constitution that is not routinely violated in family court. It is a court where both I and millions of parents like me, as well as our children, are routinely subjected to egregious violations of our civil rights. I had my 11-month-old baby boy kidnapped and abducted from me by unjustifiable and unconstitutional state intervention, despite the fact that I had never committed or been convicted of any crime or abuse. I was afforded no presumption of innocence, no trial, no chance to face my accusers. The family court commissioner was my judge, jury, and
That's what's going on. Welcome to America, right?
Right. They are, it gave me the chills. And we all know this. We all know the judges, the jury, and the executioner. This is out of control, and it needs to be abolished.
If I tell something, you don't believe it. At some point, once I became a pro se litigant, after spending almost $100,000, 6 different attorneys being able to see the corruption myself, because they always have the Star Chambers meeting before you even enter the courtrooms, and they have everything orchestrated. By the time you get inside, there's no chance. Everything's already orchestrated.
Right. I mean, my judge always met at a bar. They all met at a bar.
Yes. I haven't seen through how, some investigation that I have been done, for the past few years, they have pictures, for, how can I say, Christmas parties. It's pretty interesting. It's so much conflict of interest. They all know each other, went to school together. And by the way, there is nothing more, I don't think that is a better example of a conflict of interest. If I describe it to you, the relationship between her appointed attorney and the attorney for the child, it's unbelievable. Okay, they work they have an office on the same building. Before, the one used to be on a first floor and the other one was to be on the second floor. Now both of them are on the second floor, wall to wall. Okay, and have no idea how many times I was able to catch them walking together for lunch. You know what I'm saying? Leave the court, go to the office together. They're like buddies. I have been going through a hell with those people. Especially the attorney for the child. He's the worst of ever. But while I'm going through all the details regarding my case, I'm gonna start to expose the attorney for the child and the things that I have been going through with him as well. And I just let me just I don't know if you guys can see my t-shirt that I'm wearing right now.
Oh yes, I love that T-shirt. That's
I
from
love it.
Gottlieb.
Yes, that's one of my bodies. You know what I'm saying? I'm a very, one of the few that I still have a respect.
Yes.
The kind of work that he has done. He's brave, he's diligent. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing whatever he can in order to spread more awareness. And I love to wear this T-shirt. And I'm thinking about wear this T-shirt on my next court day, which is going to be on 26.
Oh
Yeah.
yes. Yes, and he has that website, childabusevejudges.com. So you can go in there and write down your attorney's name and your judge.
Right. Also, I would like to take the opportunity, just to, inform everyone out there who doesn't know me yet. Okay, I have a page on Facebook. This is the T-shirt from my, my Facebook page. It's called Children Best Interest. All right. So I know a lot of people are gonna look, they're gonna make some critical comments such as, oh, the spelling, it's not correct, but I did that purposely, because the apostrophe, I'm saying, give the idea of possession. Since the kids do not in the United States, they don't have, the best interest of the child served inside the court. I decided to remove the apostrophe, as I'm saying, I just put the children best interest. So, and also, this is a very interesting verse from the Bible, which I print right in the back of the T-shirt. It's almost 72nd. I'm sorry, let's Book of Psalms, chapter 72nd, verse 4.
Ah,
It's saying, may he defend the afflicted among the people and save the children of the needy. May he crush the oppressor.
and he will.
And I believe that God wants to use us. That's about time for us to say, you know what, enough is enough. And it's about time for people to understand,
Mhm.
That have been so divided as, I'm saying, already by the government.
Mhm.
And it's very important for us to overlook the difference that we have, with one another, and learning on how to focus on the main enemy that we all have in common. That's the only way we're going to save the children. That's the only way we're going to end this, purgatory,
Oh, yeah.
evil, I'm saying, satanic playground of the family court system.
Mhm.
Until then, what I'm saying, there's nothing that we're going to be able to do until the day that we'll come all together, learn how to overlook the difference that we have with each other and just focus on the main end. That's just my conclusion after seeing so many movements around this country, dissolved, I'm saying, people going apart. I was able at some point to, build up a movement over here in my area in New York City, okay, with a few brave parents, but, it was not that big, but we were solid, we were supporting each other, co-watching, exchange information, and at some point, people having a hard time to, to find balance throughout the whole process, because it is really extremely disturbing. It's not for everyone.
Mhm.
But again, yeah, I believe if God allow us to go through it, that is a way for us to still be fruitful,
Mhm.
while we're going through suffering, just like many gray men in the Bible. And by the way, I would, before I get into some details regarding, uh, my court case specifically, I would like to just read few notes that I was able to
Mhm.
make, which has to do with a church service that I was watching the other day. It's unbelievable because that service that I was watching, I was able to relate with that particular message from the beginning to the end.
Oh.
And there is no better resource of wisdom than the Word of God.
Mhm.
And I would like to share, my notes. I'm gonna try to go as fast as I can, Marianne. It's not that short, but also it's not that long.
Okay.
Let's see how far and how fast I can go. Let's give me 1 second. Let me turn off this notification. It's really annoying, right?
Mhm.
Um, Found it. Okay. All right. So I was listening to a church service the other day, and the pastor was talking about the book of Genesis, and you started you know with chapter 41 verse 50. So there was this was a very interesting moment in Joseph's life.
Mhm.
The Bible says, before the years of famine came, two sons were born to Joseph by Aneth, daughter of Potiphar, priest of On. Joseph named his firstborn Manasseh, yes, and say, it is because of God has made me forget. The name Manasseh, that's kind of confused to me, the pronunciation of this name. It's Manasseh, Manasseh, I believe. Okay, in Hebrew, sound like the Hebrew word for forget. He say, it is because God has made me forget all my troubles and all my father's household. Now, verse 52, the second son, he named it, okay, the second son, Joseph named it Ephraim. He say, it's because God has made me fruitful in the land of my suffering. Wow, that's powerful. But let's read it just a little more. The 7 years of abundance in Egypt came to an end, and the 7 years of famine began. Just as Joseph had to say to Pharaoh, there was famine in all the other lands, but in the whole land of Egypt, there was food. When all Egypt began to feel the famine, the people cried out to Pharaoh for food. The Pharaoh told all the Egyptians, go to Joseph and do what he tells you. Now going back to verse 52 for a moment. The second son, named Ephraim, it is because God has made me fruitful in the land of my suffering. Listen to me. I just would like, I'm saying to, remind everyone out there, and whenever I'm preaching to others, it comes back to me because I also need to be reminded of that. Okay, it is possible, okay, to be fruitful in the land of suffering. And I just want to remind everyone out there, and I keep reminding myself for every day, because there is days that I don't even want to get up from my bed. Marianne, you are a very good example of that. You come up with a podcast. You are a victim as well. You're doing your part in order to, help with the community. Even though there's not much community, what I'm saying here, but what I'm saying, if everybody try to play an important role into these and we all united, we would be in a much better situation. So our children, correct?
Correct. Yes.
So I want to talk to about a subject called increased in the Egypt. And the subtitle for this message is going to be, is going to happen with the people can do it. Suffering doesn't have to ruin you. Just because you didn't choose to go through it, doesn't mean you can grow through it. God can make you fruitful right where you are in. I want to talk about Joseph in the Egypt. It's hard for us to talk about the Egypt knowing what we know about Egypt. Matter of fact, when I say Egypt, most of us think of the place where God's people would be enslaved for 430 years. This happened generation after generation after Joseph was gone. God raised up a man named Moses to say to Pharaoh, let my people go. Isn't it interesting that the same place they escaped to from the famine was the place they become enslaved and became enslaved in and needed to be set free from. That reminds me, the family court. My first court day, I don't even believe I needed an attorney. I went over there by myself. She hired an attorney, a private attorney who is very friendly with the courts. He is over there every day, go to all those Christmas parties together. And on my very first day, even though this woman, she was charged with domestic violence, and she just left the jail because she committed domestic violence against me, the judge has the courage, Marianne, and she said that on the record. And by the way, I spent a couple of $100 in this amazing transcript over here in front of me 5 years later, which does not let me lie. So basically, the record says, okay, the judge say on the record, I spoke with the DA office and I told them to drop off the charge on you. Don't worry. She looked at the judge and say, thank you so much, Your Honor. So basically, the judge, Catherine Didomenico from Staten Island Civil Supreme Court, she made a phone call to her friends in the DA office. Instead of she make justice in the best interest of the child, okay, and allow this woman to be prosecuted, right? And so, we could find out whether she was guilty of a crime or not. Okay, she was biased. She abused her discretion, called the DA office, and requested her friends to do her a favor to dismiss the criminal prosecution over the mother. And even though ACS spoke, which is CPS over here in New York, he spoke very positive about me, saying that they would come to my house, interview my children, the child was safe. This judge She didn't care at all.
Mm.
She just took my child on the very first day, gave it to the mother, and I was escorted by 2 officers from the court to the exit door like a criminal. Mariana, to today, I cannot even explain on how I made it from that court building to my house walking, because I live walk distance from the court, unfortunately.
Oh.
Okay, when I came home, I have both of my sons who I raised by myself as a single parent from my first and only marriage. And they come up to me, Daddy, where's my little sister? I was like, she's gone for now, but she's going to come back, I promise you. They start to cry right in front of me. Can you imagine? Here I am, I was suffering for the pain of my own loss, suffer for my children, the siblings, suffer for my daughter. I could not do anything. I got myself on my bed under the cover and I passed out because whenever I have this heaviness of anxiety, depression,
Oh,
I don't
yes.
have no strength to do anything. I just fall asleep. I have a blackout. You know, I don't even like to talk about because I have flashbacks. I start to sweat and everything. But anyways, it was a very traumatized situation. Thanks to God, I was able to heal, you know, and to get on my feet again and keep my head straight. For the past 6 years, I have been fight very, you know, consistent, for my daughter, and I was able to get some victories as a process. Of course, once you became knowledgeable, you do the right thing. So far, 6 judges recused themselves from my case. 6, not 1. 6 judges, and before one of the last options, she had to, she's a supervising judge, and I have been before this judge. Her name is Alison Hamanjian. It's been 2 years I have been before this judge. She is such a smooth talker, try to pretend that she really care about my child. Okay, and but if you go based on the facts and you read the transcripts and the decisions and the rulings that she has been made, you can see clearly that she's definitely not willing, and she never will, to deliver the best interests of my child and to, promote fairness in interest of justice. On June 3rd, unfortunately, there was some miscommunication. They gave him the wrong date. And even though I have an attorney who was not represent me because I'm pro se, but, I decided to accept the offer, and I requested the judge for her to be my legal advisor only, just to, to help her with transcripts faster, things like that. This woman, she was present, and based on the records, the judge allowed her to make legal arguments for me many times because, I do have some sort of communication barrier. English is not my first language. She was present on that day. I was not even giving a courtesy phone call. She just contacted me once the judge gave her a default order. Okay, and here I am, almost 2 months. I have not been seeing my daughter, not be able to contact my daughter because the judge also, after 4 years, waited for a trial for a false family offense petition that was ex parte filed by my ex during the COVID, because I was getting very close to get the custody of my child due to the fact that there was multiple bruise marks in different occasions, and and ACS was after her, after the boyfriend. She was told by her attorney to go before the judge, ex parte, come up with a lie saying that I'm brainwashed the child.
Yeah.
I told her I'm gonna kill her, all that kind of stuff. So, anyways, 4 years, this woman, she had been walking around with the order of protection. She has been using this temporary order of protection to falsely arrest me as well. Okay, of course, after the arrest, there was a trial in criminal court, and I was not guilty because this woman, she doesn't have no proof that her statement is right. And for the fact that the criminal court has a higher policy than family court, here I was proved to be innocent. Again, this is the second time. So this is very typical, as you already know. A lot of parents out there, they go through this. Unfortunately, it's called silver bullets, especially for female, because the system is very feminist. The laws work very well for females. They can just go inside the person, before a criminal court judges, cry with no bruise marks, with no nothing. Oh, he hit me. That's it. That's done.
Yeah.
The man's gonna be arrested. You have to go through the whole process until you prove that he's not guilty of the crime.
Well,
Yeah.
my ex pulled that on me when we were talking earlier a couple of weeks ago. People can lie through their teeth, and it's totally accepted in family court.
Yeah, totally. There's no such a thing like perjury over that. Everything flies.
Yep.
And this, they always selected the lies, of course, because once you, just like I say, especially if you are a target parent, it doesn't matter. I already, by now, I already brought to before the judge so many evidence, and one of them is this one over here. Just give me 1 second. You're gonna be shocked. This is a manicure that I made it with all my daughter's bruise marks, the many different occasion. From her head all the way down to her toe, as you can see.
Oh.
I brought these inside the court. Have no idea how resistant they were. I was able to break through it, and I got this before the judge. And she still gave a default order to the mother. And an order of protection with no probable cause.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's how much I have been going through it. But anyways, now going back to my message, which I will finish this message to, encourage all the victims out there. Okay. So this reminded me the first time when I went, okay. So the truth of the matter is that a lot of things that feed us in one season of our lives, a lot of things that help us in one season of our lives, a lot of things that serve to shelter us in one of our lives will shackle us in another. That reminds me, the first thing that come up, the only thing that can come up to my mind whenever I read this, paragraph over here, it's the family court, because I went over there for believing that they have justice. Just like I say, I don't even have an attorney on my first day, and I got shackled when I got over there. It's the same thing with our exes as well, right? We always try to find a relationship, a healthy relationship. We want to raise the kids together, want to have a family, and at some point we realized that we were sleeping with the enemy.
Oh, exactly.
It's unbelievable. It's that thing called life, unfortunately, and it is what it is. We need to survive, and so anyways, now moving forward. Shelter to a shackle. Okay. I ran to the Egypt for shelter, but I left Egypt in shackles. In Egypt, not only would the people of God experience great pain, but Joseph never wanted to go to the Egypt in first place. Egypt wasn't on Joseph's bucket list. Egypt was on Joseph's itinerary or in his dream travel destination list. Just like the family court was not on our list as well, right? We were dragged into it.
Oh, yes.
And here I am, it's like a, earthquake, I'm saying, no matter how much I try to live and do the right thing and try to save my daughter with, being clean and good standards and provide physical evidence so, so they can make it, justice for the child, they don't do it. They refuse to do the right thing. Just like us with the family court. Okay, Joseph was pushed into a pit by his brothers, sold into slavery, picked up by a Ishmaelite caravan, put in a house of a man named Potiphar, and a slave for almost a decade. He rose to prominence in that house, and then after rising to prominence, was falsely accused of sexual offense, which many parents go through that as well, landed him in prison for a space not less than 2 years. In prison, he met a man who dreamed he is, In prison, he met a man whose dream he interpreted, who was released because of Joseph's gift. And when that man left the prison, he was the cupbearer of the king Pharaoh. And Joseph said to him, "Tell your boys about me so I don't rot in this prison." Well, guess what happened? The cupbearer got out of the prison and forgot all about Joseph. Can you believe he did that? He forgot all about the man who gave him the promise of freedom. He forgot all about the man who gave him the hope to hold on. He forgot all about Joseph for 2 years until one day Pharaoh had a dream that needed Joseph. and the cupbearer remember and say to Pharaoh, there was this man in prison who has a special ability to interpret dreams. And I wonder if you could get him right now and he could tell you the meaning of your dream.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting, right? Here's my point now, okay? God is sovereign in his scheduling of your life. Just try to think for a minute, of the 2 years that Joseph was in prison, wondering if a man would remember him or not. No signs of appreciation about what he did for the man when he was in prison. Yet there seems to be a sense in which if Joseph had got out of that prison any earlier than he did, he would not be in the position to fulfill his purpose that he was created for. So this is a very powerful paragraph as well, because, you know what I'm saying, or you're going to give the power to this corrupt system and to drag it down, to break it down, or you're going to really get on your knees on the floor, establish and build up a personal relationship with God who gives us strength in time of need like this one, you know, and grow through it. You know, it's very important for us to understand we need to embrace whatever comes in our way, because I strongly believe, I came up with this conclusion, Marianne, as long as I'm still breathing, it means there is still a purpose to be fulfilled. So it's very important for us to focus and continue to moving forward with our lives, not look at the past, you know, say not dwelling too much in the future, but live the moment, day by day, one step at a time.
Oh, I agree.
You know, because when you go to a situation like this, you know, there was a time that I started to have thoughts of suicide 4 years ago. And I, you know, I was saved because of my faith in God. At that point, I started to realize that I thought I knew what faith was all about. And at that point, I started to realize that most of the people, including myself, we don't have no clue what faith it's really all about until the day faith, it's all you have to hold on to it. So,
Very well said. Yes.
It's unbelievable. I know, because I went through a very, very horrible situation where I almost lost my life. You know what I'm saying? And thanks to God, I'm here today because of my faith in God, because of this breakthrough, because of this insight that the Holy Spirit gave it to me when I was going through the most difficult time in my life. So anyway, now moving forward, okay. So Joseph's life really reads like a resume of somebody who does not have got involved in their life. Please don't misinterpret me. Obviously, God was with Joseph, but I'm just saying, if you don't assume God was with him, you would probably infer from the events that transpired that God was not. This is because, unfortunately, this is because unfortunately that's how we see things in life. When somebody is doing really well in life, we assume that they are blessed and God is with them and God's hands is on them. But if someone struggles, a lot of times we'll think, oh, they must be doing something wrong or being disobedient to God. And sometimes, you know, sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. We all suffer, and we suffer for different reasons. Everyone suffers somewhere. Everyone. These 3 words can kill your jealousy about anybody you envy, because anybody you envy in your life, that is something in their life that if you knew about it, you wouldn't trade a place with them for 10 minutes. How many times we all have been mischaracterized, misinterpreted by friends, family members, and the judges while going through this divorce or custody cases in family court. One of the reasons why I'm bringing the story of Joseph is because a lot of us who's going through suffering due to the corruption in family court system can relate with Joseph's story. There is much more to go over regarding Joseph's life story and what God has done to him, for him, and through him, and all the transformation through the trials that Joseph has been going through his suffering. My intention of bringing this up is that I just want to remind myself and everyone out there that there is a God who is still sitting on his throne, and that he is the same, and that he is the same God who has transformed and used Joseph and many others to accomplish things that seemed to be impossible in the natural. And this guy is still alive. He's still in business for miracle, and the one with the last say. Remember, as long as you're still breathing, there is still a purpose to be fulfilled in this life. So let's stand up and moving forward to fulfill it. That's pretty much the message of hope that I would like to share with everyone out there. I believe this message to be extremely powerful. Okay, and I just want to address again, this this message started on the book of Genesis, chapter 41, verse 50. Just keep that in mind. Make a note for those who believe in God and believe that he's the only resource of wisdom and strength. So this is, I strongly advise to go over this book, the chapter and verse, because it just opened up my eyes for so many things and strengthened me to continue to moving forward with this infinite battle. Let's put it this way. So Marianne, let's going back right now to the drama. I know people don't like to invest time listening to anyone crying and talking about drama, but I'm gonna try to summarize as much as I can in 10 minutes, 15 minutes maximum. And I started with my very first day when I went to court. Just like I was explaining a few minutes ago, unfortunately, at some point after I tried everything to save my relationship with the mother of my child, with who I was never married, I never got married with. We were engaged. And due to the fact that I was able to see her true colors during the process of she's getting pregnant, the way she was acting towards me, towards my children and the baby, putting people against me, the silver bullet. I tried, even though after the silver bullet, I tried to go to couple therapy. I was having a hard time to accept the separation myself. I don't want to raise a little girl in a broken home.
Right.
Maybe a couple therapy is going to work. So believe it or not, in the beginning, I offered her, I was like, listen, honey, I think you should go to a one-on-one therapy, because it's very clear that you have some emotional issues. You have the same problem with your ex-husband. Now you brought the same drama into my life. I never had this problem before. It's always screaming, get over, out of control when you get emotional, when things doesn't happen the way you want. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm sorry, baby. I have a text message that she really asked for sorry. I'm not as strong as you are, things like that. So I thought, why she needs some sort of, this woman needed some sort of, professional support. 1 second, Marianne, let me turn off this notification from the other phone. So she didn't accept it. She came up to me. She was like, listen, I will not go to any one-on-one therapy, because I don't know for a fact, for the reason that our relationship, it's not stable. If you're going separate ways, you're going to use that against me to get the custody of the child. I was like, whoa, why are you saying this? You probably know that you have some problems, so let's talk about it. She was like, no, I don't have any problem, but I don't want to go any one-on-one therapy. I'm like, okay. So anyways, this woman, she's not from America. Okay, she's from, Eastern European, the old Soviet Union. And we never know if she has some, already was diagnosed with some problem in her country, but there's no records over here in the United States.
Oh.
Okay, so that's what she told me. And then I prayed, I was like, I need to find a way to, so we can bring some healing, because otherwise I'm going to have to break up. And I don't want to do that. My baby was so, she was a newborn, so
Oh.
cute, so little, you know what I'm saying? I was so happy, my first little girl. And then at some point, God gave me an idea and approached her again. I was like, you know what? Let's go to a couple therapy. You don't want to go to one-on-one therapy? That's fine. Let's go to a couple therapy then. You know, because we need to find a way to manage our emotions and, you know what I'm saying, come up with a solution, because you can't live like this. It's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for the kids,
Mm-mm.
you know. And she accepted. She accepted. But since, for the fact that in those days I just left the jail, you know, I lost all my clients because I'm an independent contractor, work as a real estate broker in New York City,
Mhm.
Manhattan for 16 years. Okay, so I lost all my clients. I was traumatized. Going through a healing process.
Mhm.
Okay, have court days, all that kind of stuff. So she started to go to the corporal. Once I hired the corporal therapist, she started to go to the corporal therapy by herself. Before, she doesn't want to go to one-on-one by herself
Mhm.
therapy. And now that I got a corporal therapist, she started to go before me because I didn't have the time. We were getting close to the Christmas. My
Mhm.
daughter, she's a baby Christmas. She was born in, you know what I'm saying, on 26, between the
Mhm.
25th and the 26th of December. And there was a lot of going on. I'm like, I need to save money. We need money for, you know, for the first birthday of the child. You know what I'm saying? There are many other things that was on my list, you know what I'm saying? And I can't afford to go to couple therapy right now until I start to close my first deals and make sure that I have some money. And so she started to go to the couple therapist by herself. By the time I started to go with her, the couple therapist was a female, and
Mhm.
she was sitting down, walking me the entire time sideways.
Mhm.
It made me feel so uncomfortable. They became buddies. Okay, repeating all the statement that she heard from the mother of my child. Okay, make me feel uncomfortable. And somehow, instead of she's being neutral, she was, with her words, I could see it was so side already.
Mhm.
That woman, she would never would be able. Yeah, I don't know what type of expertise this, you know,
Mhm.
therapist, you know, have, but she's definitely not a couple therapist. You know.
Yeah.
So once I noticed that, Marianne, I got up and I was like, listen, I'm gonna go home. If you want to come with me, otherwise I meet you home. But I can see clearly that this place would not bring a remedy for our problem. Okay. And I'm not here to waste my time. So
Mhm.
I walked out, everybody was looking at my face and I understanding what was going on. Okay. And after that, uh, you know, there was no more hope.
Mhm.
I decided one day, because my younger son, he was crying. He came up to me crying out. He was like, Daddy, even though my son was so young in those days, he was probably about 11. And he was like, Daddy, I can see that this woman should not leave you alone. You try to prevent fight. She always after you, is screaming, I can't live like this anymore. And my son was crying while I
Oh.
was driving to buy a pizza in the middle of the night. Okay.
Mhm.
I was like, son, I'm really sorry. You know, I'm saying, forgive me, because it was my fault. But it's nobody to blame, because you like her in the beginning. I was in love with her. And you know, and one of the reasons why I decided to put my guards down and invited her to be friends with us was not because of you guys. You guys remember, my kids were so in love with this woman because she used to give them everything they want.
Mhm.
And they were like, I wish she could be my mother. That's what my kid, both of my
Um.
sons used to tell me before, you know, and then became a hell.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
It was horrible, yeah. So basically, after that day, I could not go to sleep, Marianne, and I decided to cancel all my appointments on the next day with my clients. I went to the family court. I filed for custody and a auto protection.
Mhm.
So I went before the judge. The judge tried to not give me the auto protection. I was like, Your Honor, I need the auto protection because this woman recently, a few months ago, she put me in jail with a false accusation. I can see how the system, it's very feminist, unfortunately. Don't get me wrong. But it just took one phone call for her to lie again and put me behind bars again. And I know, for the fact that I know this woman, I know how she overreacts whenever she get emotional. Once she gets served with those papers, she's gonna try to do something to retaliate against me, and
Mhm.
I needed to have auto protection. So she understood me, and she gave me a refrain from. 3 days later, as soon as this woman received those papers, she was served with a custody paper and a refrain from order. She started to throw the vacuum on me. Thanks to God, both of my sons, they were already home from school. And for the fact that they were so traumatized, Marianne, my older son, he hid himself behind the door of his bedroom and he
Oh,
recorded everything with his phone.
oh,
Okay. Yes.
good.
This woman at some point, she threw boxes on me, she pushed me, she cursed me, she did
Oh,
everything that she could not do it at that moment after she was being served. And then she ran away from the house and threatened me that she would call the police on me again. I was like, listen, I haven't done anything wrong. You want to call the police? Go ahead, call the police. So she forgot the keys in the house. She forgot even the baby. She always used to take the baby with her. At some
oh,
point, she came back home. She started to knock on the window and she was like, open the door. I looked through the window and I told her, no, unfortunately, I'm not going to open the door because you are completely out of control.
mm,
Calm down first and I will open the door so we can talk like civilized people, without getting, I'm saying crazy.
mhm,
It was
mhm.
like, oh, you see what's going to happen, mother,
Yeah.
yada, yada,
Oh,
yada. I was like, okay, so do what you got to do because I'm going to do what I got to do. I took my phone and I called the police right away because she was up putting me in jail again with false
oh,
accusation. So by the time the police arrived at my house, she was already gone. Okay, I explained everything that happened. And while I was explaining the guy what happened, my son came out of nowhere. He was like, Daddy, I record everything with my phone. I was like, really? So I took his phone and we saw the video. And the police officer came up to me after he seen the video. He was like, listen, she did all those things before or after she getting served?
mhm.
It was like, it was after she getting served. And they said, for the fact that in those days, I didn't know nothing about the legal system because I never had to get involved. I live a normal life. Okay, the closest I got to the police was traffic ticket, parking ticket. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Never had a problem with CPS, nothing in schools, nothing, 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 nothing. My life was just normal. Okay.
Oh,
And so the police officer came up to me. He was like, sir, we cannot stay over here all day, but based on the video, if she did what she did over there after she was served, she's going to be arrested. Now it's up to you. I'm not here to tell you what to do because you're a grown man, but you need to make a decision very quick. Marianne, I never put nobody in jail. The
mhm,
last thing I want is to put the mother of my child in
mhm.
jail. It was a very difficult time to the point that I started to shake and
Oh,
tears started to stream down my face, you know. And the police was very sympathetic to me. He was like, sir, I'm going to give a couple of minutes. I can see that you are emotional, but we cannot stay over here all day, okay? I give you 5 minutes to make a decision. I called my mom, my sister, I explained that what's going on. And at some point, I made my decision because the police officer, he came back, he started rushing me. So you made a decision? I was like, I don't know what to do. So to be honest with you, he was like, sir, let me tell you something. I'm a police officer for 15 years. I see cases like this every day. Okay. If you don't do what you got to do because I saw the video, I can tell one thing right now, one of my colleagues is going to come back over here. He's going to arrest you. Believe me.
mhm,
I look at him. I was like, you know what? You're right because she did that before. And she's going to do it again. Especially.
mhm.
So I don't have no other choice but I made the police report and she was arrested. That was the last time, I'm saying on that day that were under the same roof. She was arrested and then after the arrest, the first time I saw her was before this judge in Civil Supreme Court because my case at some point was transferred from Federal Court to Supreme Court. So I was before Judge Catherine Didomenico, and this woman, she's one of the most evil judge in Richmond County. And I want to take this opportunity to put her picture right here so everybody see the face of this criminal child abuser. That's her. Okay. This is the woman who threw her web all over me in the very first day. Very first day. I don't even have an attorney because I thought I never needed one. I was like, they probably going to
Ah,
split half. I'll pay child support. That's okay because she's my child. I need to support my own child. And that's it. They took the child away from me. She expressed herself clearly, abused her discretion, called the DA office and dismissed the criminal case. And,
ah,
and my ex was like, thank you so much, Your Honor, with the biggest smile on her face. Okay. My daughter was removed from me on that day and gave it to the mother. And 6 years later, here I am,
mhm,
I tried to save my daughter from all this, abuse, absurd, you know what I'm saying? Which I never had a trial yet in 6 years. 6 judges recused themselves from my case. A attorney for the child that he's unbelievably incompetent, another child abuser. That's him over here. His name is Harry Chu. Harry
Oh,
Chu. Look at how cute playing basketball. He's a
oh.
basketball.
And he's a judge?
No, he's at the AFC.
AFC, gotcha.
Harry Chu from Staten Island, ladies and gentlemen. And now how he make a living? 99% of his business all 18B.
Ah,
Oh yeah, he's a puppet in the hands of the corrupt court system. You know, I have no idea. One time when I was before this judge over here, and you're very familiar with her, Janet McFarland.
oh,
She was referee back in the days. Okay. She did the same thing that I just went through on June the 3rd, gave the mother a default order. Can you believe it? This guy over here, Harry Chu, and I have it recorded because I was doing, you know what I'm saying, from home. Him, this guy, he was laughing. Everybody, you know what I'm saying, he thought the video was off and he started to laugh, making fun of my pain, my suffering after my daughter was removed from.
oh, I believe it. I believe it.
And I was like, Mr. Harry Chu, I'm still here. Are you laughing from my disgrace, my pain? No worry, you know. Laugh, you know what I'm saying, the best laugh will come last. I told him.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Oh,
so
terrible.
you know, and you know, but one of the best pictures that I like about this, you know what I'm saying, this attorney for the child is this one over here. And this is how careless, reckless these people are. They have been working this criminal enterprise for so many years, Marianne, that sometimes they do things, you know, evil things that, you know, it's just, it became a part of them. It consumes them totally.
Mm-hmm.
They do in a way that is so open that they don't even realize that there's some people over there who has value, moral, and they can see through it. What they're doing, it's not right.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Look at what happened at some point while I was having you know, virtual court appearance. This is, you're gonna be shocked. Oh, all right. I think I found it. There we go. Okay. So we'll have a, you know, so this is Mr. Harry Chu.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna call him from now on Mr. Harry Choo Choo.
Yeah.
So this is him over here, the basketball lover. When he, okay,
He probably sucks at that too.
yeah, and this is over here inside his office, professional office, the same place where he meets all the children. Can't you see what's in the top of his refrigerator?
Alcohol bottles.
Yes, that's how
Whoa.
Yes, inside his office, the same place where he meets children, because his main role in as an 18B attorney for the family court, it's attorney for the child, in juvenile cases.
Ah.
Listen, I'm just sharing the picture. I'm not saying anything. Keep that in mind.
Right.
I don't think it is professional, right?
No, no.
I don't think this should be allowed, correct?
Right.
And so basically, you know, have no idea. Okay, now that we already spoke about Didomenico, the one who ruled my life and my daughter's life since the day on the first day in court. Okay, she pretty much violated all my every single constitutional rights, civil rights they can possibly imagine. My very first day, I don't even have a representation. You know, she was my prosecutor, she was my executioner, she was, you know what I'm saying, and she took my child, gave it to the mother, and I was treated just like a criminal to the exit door. You know, now, so basically, I would like to share a couple of beautiful moments that I went through in family court with this Catherine Didomenico. Actually, you know what? Just to make a long story short, I think it's enough reported against this criminal over here, Judge Catherine Didomenico from Staten Island. You know, I'm not going to go too much details because I don't want this video to be too long to the point where people will not engage. I want to deliver a quick message. So now, okay, so basically right now I am before Judge Alison Hamanjian. She happened to be a supervising judge, like I say. And this is the picture of the judge. This talker, the one who always say, oh, your child, she's so cute. You know, I want to do what's the best for her. Of course, the child need both of the parents. And maybe I'm not going to make a determination they're going to please one or another, or maybe I'm not going to please both, but in the end of the day, it's going to be all about the facts. And she's such a small talk. I keep looking at her face. I was like, no kidding, really. Right? I always remember, and I'm going to address it again. I took days over here, right in front of her, not too long ago, with court watchers. I have everything documented. Okay, the attorney for the child is supposed to represent my daughter, but he often file motions on behalf of the mother, try to prevent me from having contact with my child. What type of attorney for the child would ever do such a thing? He exposed bias so openly like that.
That's even an ethical issue, I would
Completely.
think.
By the way, listen, I have a few motions that he filed over here, and this one over here, this is something that I must expose since I have the opportunity. One of his motions over here was, it's so despicable. Okay, let me see if it was this one. Yes, there we go. I'm gonna cover the name of my ex. Let me see how I can do this.
What was the motion?
So basically, it was affirmation in opposite order to show cause, because I filed order to show cause to extend my time with my child. Because kids, they need their father, especially fit parents like myself. I always remember raising 2 kids by myself. My youngest son is going to one of the toppest university right now, Columbia University.
Oh, wow.
Okay, for a physical engineer. And believe it or not, at this moment, I have no relationship with my son because my son became so rebellious, so depressed with all this, seeing his father suffering, not having time for him, even though I was trying to save his little sister. And I knew how much he was suffering as well, but he could not understand that I was absent of his life because I was too busy learning how to navigate the system to bring his little sister back home. But anyways, I believe that God is working with my son right now. Soon we're gonna have our relationship restored. But anyway, I will. As you can see, this was an affirmation of opposition from the attorney of the child. Can you read it? Over here, right? And that's his name over here, Harry Chu.
Ugh.
You can see it?
Yep.
Okay, now let me read real quick. I am the attorney side represented, the child by the name, blah, 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 blah. Now, number 2, this one over here, I definitely need to put it over there so you guys can see that I'm not lying. This guy is like an iceberg. I'm saying that's a combination between the judge and him. They both like a huge iceberg. I don't even know how I'm gonna climb all the way to the top to get to the other side and save my daughter. I do not support an order vacated the July 16, 2020 order issued by the Special Court Attorney Referee Janet McFarland. Okay, and I do not support restatement of unsupervised visits. Look, I want to make sure that everybody's going to read it. This is, this guy who really believes that he's represent the best interest of my child. When all he does all the time is to try to prevent me to have contact with my child, just like any other family court does, right? Because they know the more they prevent the contact, more they will harm the children relationship with the parent. And that's how they profit from it.
A lot of people do not know this.
It's unbelievable. It's being, I'm saying, crazy. So basically, at some point, I was able to conduct my own private investigation, and my daughter right now, just so we can have an idea, even though I try to prevent this to happen with my child, okay, because since the beginning when I became, I not only do a lot of legal research, but I also do a lot of scientific research, clinical research from experts. And I have been educating myself a lot about it, Fortunately, we have one of the, very, knowledgeable, respect, I have a lot of respect for this lady, but she doesn't have a PhD in psychology, but she has as much knowledge in training like any other psychologist. She is indeed an expert in childhood trauma, childhood abuse. Her name is Linda Gottlieb. So she was able to produce for me, in general report showing her credentials and everything, and the harms that could be causing on the child psychologically, to educate the judge about it, so the judge could go look her report, right?
Mhm.
At that point, the judge would educate herself from an expert, because this is, always remember, judges, they are doctors of law. They don't
Yeah.
have expertise in psychology and childhood trauma, nothing like that.
Mm-mm.
Okay, even though they know, they have the knowledge, they haven't been, they haven't had in the past many experts before them, you know,
Mhm.
all the toppers one, and they were educated before, but they pretend like they don't have no clue. And for the fact they, psychology is not the area of expertise, they completely ignore science.
Mhm.
And so this is the reason why I decided, you know what? Let me do my part at least, even though I don't have much hope, because it is what it is. They are corrupted, and they don't want to do what is right for my child. But I
Mhm.
gave it to her. Her name was right there. Linda Gottlieb was addressing to the judge, Alison Hamanjian. She
Mhm.
saw the report twice. I used that same report twice in my motion practice, and she's still ignoring. So a few months later, I received an email from the mother of my daughter's attorney, informed me that my daughter was diagnosed with ADHD, and the mother not even took the second or the third opinion. She put my daughter on medication right away. So,
Mm.
I have the medical records of my daughter. Not so long ago, I was able to retain, and it's really sad because my daughter just was diagnosed with ADHD, but the school record shows that my daughter, she's extremely aggressive. She have a very serious behavior issue, and the teachers describe my child to be extremely aggressive towards her peers in class.
Oh.
You know, I and here I am continuously fighting for my daughter, while the other party, all she does is to harm our child, use the child as a weapon against me,
Mhm.
abusing the child in every way possible, teach my daughter on how to lie. It's unbelievable how
Oh,
my
yeah.
daughter learned how to lie so fast. She's a little princess, so genuine, but when it comes towards lying and cover up the mess, the things that her mother does, she does perfectly, like a 25-year-old girl.
Oh.
I'm like, maybe you got old way too fast. I tried to teach her, take her to church, because the mother, she's an atheist. She don't believe in God.
Just like mine.
Yes, and my daughter, she started to get involved in my church, and she started to talk about Jesus. It's, because of me. And at some point, I can feel my daughter feel a little guilty, very uncomfortable by doing those things, but she don't have no other choice. She's
Mhm.
afraid that I might say something, and the mother's gonna find out that she brought it to me, and she's gonna be punished, because I always remember
Right.
this court allowing this child to spend most of the time with someone who induced fear and pathology
Yes.
over my beautiful little girl.
I'm so sorry.
This is, those are the things that we are, facing, that the things that we have been facing, and it's been decades. And I would like to take this opportunity also to um just I made some notes over here about it as well, because every time first of all, going public, it's not my thing,
Mhm.
and this was why I made sure to make some notes, so I will keep in track everything. But we're about to finish, Marianne.
Okay.
Just gonna, address one more note that I have made earlier. Just give me one sec. Yeah, I think I pretty much went over most of it. I definitely, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not gonna allow my ego to take the best of me, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I have been going through a lot of pain, just like any parents who has been, you know, who have been going through what I've been going through.
Hmm.
It's one of the saddest thing when you, just like I said before, you know, when you see your child suffering, crying out for help in silence,
Hmm.
you are deprived by a very evil system to protect your child. You know, it prevents all those harms that has been caused to her physically, emotionally, psychologically, in every way. It's destroying my daughter's future forever. You know, and you know, I really appreciate people can, you know, I want to give you the opportunity to everyone who wants to reach out to me. My name is, you know, you can find me on Facebook, Cello Roque, CELLO, last name ROQUE. I have this page just like I told you guys, you know, and I have this. By the way, this was the company of Kenneth Gottlieb. He printed down this for
Oh,
me.
yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah,
Yes.
very good
Oh,
job. Very good design, very good quality.
yeah,
And
I want to tell you, when you held up that motion, they spelled Janet McFarland's name wrong. Did you see that? They
yeah, because in
spelled
those days it used to
Janie.
be before Janet McFarland. That's cool. That's a good thing.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
going to put her picture over there again so people can see. There's another criminal in that working within the criminal enterprise
Yeah.
family court system in Richmond County Family Court. And
Ugh,
just remember, this is the new one that I have, which is the supervisor of
ugh,
the criminal crew, you know,
you.
Alison Hamanjian.
I have to look away because I
I
don't have
know.
my appetite.
You can feel the energy, right? Through the eyes.
Right.
For
Yes.
some reason.
Ugh.
Anyways, okay, if you see this logo, that's my page, Children Best Interest. I need support, I'm not gonna lie. Just like I say, we definitely need to be together on this. We can end this
Right.
yesterday. And this is the last message I would like to share with everyone out there before I finish this video. Okay, it takes more than one to end this atrocity that we are living in. And we are never going to get anywhere as long as we continue to be divided as we are right now. And until we learn on how to overcome the differences that we have with one another and have our main focus on the enemy that we all have in common. And you all know exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. I
So
like, yeah, and I'd like to have you come back on with updates to your case.
I would love to. If you give me the opportunity, I'm in it.
Yeah. And the judge also, I was going to ask you, the judge disregarded whatever Linda Gottlieb was saying.
Absolutely. She flipped the chapter, went to the next page, and that's it.
So she
Yeah.
disregarded it. Okay.
Oh, if she would take that serious,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think that is anything more shocking than this.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, these judges don't care. They
They
don't.
don't care about the best interest of the child. Okay. It doesn't, you know, even though there was a expert sent to them, you know, a general report, try to educate them, she doesn't care either. She doesn't care about the bruise marks. 6 years went by, and she thinks my daughter, she's having fun over there being abused as much as she's having been. You know what I'm saying? With the mother, and the mother always exposed my child with a revolving door of different boyfriends. It's
Uh-huh.
unbelievable. You
Yes.
know, I have reports that shows clearly that, you know, there was my daughter was exposed to many times is sleeping,
Yeah.
how can I say, improper sleeping arrangements with different males, because the ACS was conducting investigation after I made the report, and my daughter don't have her own bedroom. The criminal was right next to her bed, and you know what I'm saying? Can you imagine?
Oh, I'm sorry.
My
Oh
daughter
my
growing
God.
up watching all those things, you know,
Oh,
and she have this boyfriend right now from Jersey, where she hides all the time, especially in the summer. And this guy right now, by the way, he has a warrant in New York City, okay, because he committed a crime against me while I was picking up my child during the holidays in her birthday last year.
oh
Okay,
my goodness.
and I have not been seeing my daughter. You know, I received a phone call from the Department of the State the other day, from this department. It's called abduction prevention. She was trying to give my daughters a passport without asking the court for permission or myself, even though my parental rights has never been terminated yet. And I was able to submit all the paperwork to vacate this default order, and we are already back to the court's calendar.
Oh,
And
goodness.
just try to abduct my child.
Oh, well, I'm going to have you
Another-
back on again. So,
I definitely have to, Marianne.
yeah. Hey, don't jump off. Slam the Gavel is a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these courtrooms. I am your host, Marianne Petrie. You can find me on Spotify, YouTube, Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google, and other platforms I don't even know about. And feel free to buy me a coffee to help keep this podcast going. You can find that in the podcast notes. And thank you so much, Cello Roque. I was going to call you Marcello Roque at the same
Marcello,
time.
yeah, Marcello. That's
Yes.
my first name, Marcello.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome. Thank you, Marianne. You have
Thank
been an inspiration, to all, just like I said before, if everybody do a little bit, right, we
Right.
could be in a much better place. We can, being able to provide a much better environment for our children and for the new generations to come. This is
Oh,
a must.
yes.
You know what? I would like to, just to say one more thing before I leave.
Mhm.
Believe it or not, I came across this article talking about Adolf Hitler. As you
Mhm.
already know, the legendary Adolf Hitler, he was one of the most evil people who stepped into this earth. He did so many very bad things, right? Especially with the Jewish community.
Mhm.
But believe it or not, even he was able at some point, I don't know if he meant or not, but at some point he come up with a very beautiful quote. And he say that children are the most precious culture
Mhm.
of any nation. If the government protect the children and give them what they need, any citizen can endure any sort of oppression. And this is so true.
Oh, yes. Yes.
They are the future. And then my question is, what the hell is going on with this country, America? How can they ignore something? How they can be so pity and look for, fault in people,
Oh,
in movements and be divided when all we need to do is to overcome, overlook our differences, focus on our main enemy, which is the court, the government in general, and we're not, we can win this overnight. It's just a matter of having the right attitude and having the right focus. That's all.
yeah, definitely. Well, I'll have you back on, and thank you very much.
Thank you.